Hey there, you legends. My name's Fedor. I'm a Dutch stand-up comedian. I tour the world and perform in all kinds of weird places. And this is going to be an exceptionally weird one because I'm right now in the center of Kyiv, Ukraine, a country which is currently at war with Russia. Or as the Russians call it, a special military operation, but that's what we call bullshit. I do want to emphasize, I did not go here for some kind of sensation trip just to do a show and oh, look at me, I'm doing a show in the war zone, because that's dumb. I am dumb, that's regardless of the fact, but I'm also here to deliver some goods to an animal shelter, which I already have done. So I'm also not going to cover that in this video, except for these puppies. A few puppies can't hurt. But while I'm here, I am also doing a show. Because the war started in February, it is September now. And actually the comedy clubs in Kyiv already opened back up in April. And started doing shows again. Because Kyiv itself was under attack at the beginning of the war. Now that all the fighting is in the east, Kyiv is relatively safe. Life is relatively normal. People go about their day. Bars are open, restaurants are open, shops are open. Traffic's buzzing. It really is and does feel very normal. Sure, you do see some military checkpoints, people with big weapons guarding stuff, but I didn't feel much of that because I don't want to look like a Russian spy. On top of that, there's already a lot of war footage online. If you want to see that, you can find that. For this video, I just wanted to show a different image. And there is the occasional air alarm. But in general, it is surprisingly normal. And what also surprised me is that Kyiv is actually a lovely city. I expected it to be a bit more grim, a bit more Soviet style, but it actually is really lovely. With a lot of colorful churches, interesting architecture, some gorgeous buildings, some interesting buildings, also some, ugly buildings, need to be honest. Fascinating art everywhere, lovely street art. I mean, they have an Alice in Wonderland playground, for fuck's sake. That's amazing. Are these peeing children? This is a bit much. Honestly, doing a comedy show in a country where this is reality at the same time is weird, and I do feel conflicted about it. I really do. But there's a reason the comedy club has been open again for a few months. Laughter is a way of relieving tension, and when you're at war, there's a lot of tension that needs some relief. And the people I've been talking to here also joke a lot about the situation because it's a coping mechanism, it's a way of dealing with it. They would talk about the buildings around their house being destroyed and that their view now is better. Just because it's a way of dealing with things. So yeah, I do feel conflicted. I do. But yeah, maybe I can bring a smile on somebody's face with my silly poop jokes, because that's what they are in the end. Also, let me know in the comments what you think. Like, is it weird to do comedy here now? Is it not weird? To joke or not to joke is basically the question. And also, what would you do? Would you joke about the war, or would you joke about other things to distract away from the war? I'm curious. Drop it in the comments.
From the Netherlands, Fedor
I didn't know there were still so many foreigners. I'm glad I'm not the only one that makes very bad life choices. Amazing. I have a Ukrainian friend in the Netherlands and I'm staying with his mother here, which is awkward because she's treating me like her son. And her English isn't very good, so it's mostly very confusing. She already tried to match me to 3 of the neighbors' daughters. She's very persistent. And also, which is, I don't know if all Ukrainian mothers do this, but she decides when I'm full. So I'm like full, I'm stuffed, and I'm like, no, I cannot eat anymore, I'm full. And she just looks at me and goes, no, eat. And I knew already that Ukrainians are brave, fearless, which is good when you're fighting a war. I've realized now that I'm here, it's less good when they're on an electrical scooter. I've been hit twice today. In all fairness, both times it was kind of my mistake because I was, like a naive idiot walking on the sidewalk and not crawling the wall as if I was Spider-Man or anything. That was not my best show, to be honest. I just couldn't get into the rhythm of it. My mind was still way too preoccupied with everything I've heard and saw here in Ukraine and all the stories from the animal shelter and from the people I've spoken to. So it definitely wasn't my best show. The audience still enjoyed it, was okay, but it wasn't a 10 out of 10, that's for sure. But now I already left Ukraine. I'm in Germany, random spot alongside the road, because I wanted to say something, and that's not, to like, subscribe and buy me coffee, which I usually do at this point, but that feels inappropriate in this case for some reason. I wanted to share that actually the first time I ever did stand-up was at my father's eulogy, because that's the way I deal with emotions. I joke about it, I make fun of it, because that relieves tension. So please don't mistake any lightheartedness or jokes during this video that I'm not taking this whole war serious. I'm taking it very serious, and I'm not afraid to admit that I shed quite a few tears the past week. It's what's happening is insane and horrible, because I've been to the east of Ukraine prior to the war. I've spoken to people there, and the arguments Putin is using to justify all this violence is absolute bullshit. It's absolute nonsense. And even now, in the Kyiv, I've spoken to actual Russian-speaking East Ukrainians, and none of them support this. It's insane. So yeah, please don't think I'm taking this lightly. I'm taking this very serious. But I just wanted to show you guys a different image. I wanted to show you guys that life goes on as well in Ukraine, and that the show must go on, because the alternative is giving up. And giving up is not an option. Slava Ukraini.